everybody, and welcome to this video of myself and Liz Drew. And we're here to look at the top 5 clarinet ligatures in metal. So there are various clarinet ligatures available on the market. Some cost £3, some cost £300. Some cost more than your mouthpiece, some don't. But we've picked out 5 which we feel offer different things, really good quality in terms of build, and slight differences in resistance and how they feel. So we're going to hit you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with them in order. And we're going in price order, so we've not chosen which is best or worst. We're going in price order. So starting first out, we have this, which is the Rico H ligature, and it's available in silver plate or gold plate, but we feel the gold has a certain, something to it.
There's extra bloom to the sound, I think, with gold, isn't there?
It's quite nice and rich.
It feels like it, anyway.
It feels, exactly. So, Liz, let's have a little blow.
Sure. And just it's a nice, solid piece of equipment, so you don't feel it's too flimsy. It's not going to bend around easily.
Good.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah, there's that richness maybe that the
Yes.
gold gives, yeah. And I think it's worth pointing out, we should do, that a ligature is, okay, there's plenty of people out there that go, oh, you can use any old thing, and there's plenty that will spend hundreds.
They make a difference.
Yes.
Undoubtedly.
Undoubtedly. Okay, so this is someone who's been there and doing it as we speak professionally.
Yeah.
So the
articulation works easily, and there's a warmth to the sound.
Okay.
All good.
Good. Okay, nice easy start. We're going to carry on to the Vandoren MO. So,
These are very popular. You see a lot of these about.
Yes, lots of people have taken those up.
Yeah.
They're a very light construction and feel. Yeah. They do have the 2 bars on the back there and a single screw. It's not the kind of thing you'd want to sit on, though.
No, very flimsy. You have to be responsible. Maybe not ideal for a kid just starting out. But
yes. If you can be responsible, it's always good to be a responsible clarinet player. They are available in different finishes. They do a silver plate, a pewter, and this is the pink gold that we have here. There might be very small variances between those, but that's such a subjective thing. But I think
what
overall,
people say about them generally is that they don't get in the way of your sound.
Yes.
So they allow the reed to vibrate with it, but they don't produce a sound of itself.
Yes, they're not enforcing anything on. Okay.
Again, does what it says.
Yeah, fairly free.
Fairly free, yep.
Just allows you to do what you need to do. Cool.
I have one, amongst a number of others. I have one of these as well.
Now, this is a bit of a classic. The Vandoren Optimum has been around, I would say, a good 20 years.
Yes, you still see a lot of these about as well.
Yeah. A lot sturdy, a lot heavier feeling than the MO.
It is, and it has this interchangeable plate, doesn't it?
Yes, so you've got 3 plates that can come off.
This moves.
Yep. And you can unscrew and pop that out, and there's 3 that come with it. The idea is they have slightly different levels of resistance. So from the freest blowing...
They do feel different.
Yeah. And that's just obviously personal preference.
Yeah. Yeah, a bit of a mess at the end there. But this one it feels that there's a more welly to the sound, really.
Yeah. And do you think maybe that comes from the extra actual physical weight that's on the lig?
Who knows? Quite possibly. All I know is it feels different. You feel there's a greater body behind the sound. People say that silver can do that and gold does something different altogether. But the material this is made of undoubtedly has an effect. And for me, that just makes it feel like a bigger sound that you're producing and blowing against.
Does it feel a little more resistant than these lighter ones?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so that's worth bearing in mind. And actually, resistance is not bad or good. It can depend on your mouthpiece setup and reed, presumably.
A certain amount of resistance, I think, is important, because otherwise the breath can have the feeling of just going. So to have that support, you need to have a little amount of resistance, otherwise the air just dissipates.
Just something to work against and work with. Okay, good. I'm running out of fingers. But our last one is not yet. Our next one, is the BG Duo. Now the Duo...
This is fascinating.
Yes, it's a slightly different thing in that you can use them on a couple of different sizes of instruments. So this Duo is the number 1. you can use on clarinet and or alto saxophone.
Yeah, it has two little rubber plates there, doesn't it? So it's very secure on the mouthpiece. It doesn't shift.
Yeah, once it's on, it does sit quite nicely in there.
Yeah.
But it's because of how it wraps around, the sides aren't actually touching the mouthpiece, are they? It's just the front on the reed. And then there's a fairly long screw on the back, which is where they get that ability to change.
And I guess the thinking behind that is to not clamp the mouthpiece, the vibrations from the mouthpiece in any way, again, to allow the sound to sing, theoretically. We'll see. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, in our
Immediately
testing,
you play that. It just has a sense of freedom, but body and flexibility, which, who knows, maybe it doesn't sound out there. But sitting here, and that's very important, it certainly feels that way. And it's something I would look into further.
Okay, well, they do those in silver plate and in gold plate. And it might be that, because I believe when we were testing these, there's the clarity of attack, perhaps, you were finding on this was the crispest of all the ligatures that we tried.
Yeah.
And I think maybe if you try the silver versus the gold, that might give
Maybe
you...
different again.
Yeah, slightly different benefits, do you think?
Yes, I just haven't quite got the knack of releasing. Ah, there we go. It's just me. Perfect. Releases perfectly easily.
Now, I'm going to give Liz a moment to get this on. But this is a new ligature. It's, number 5 in the test because it's the most expensive.
I'm just going to hold that up
It's
there.
the AK. And we've actually done a separate video about this in terms of some of the benefits and some of the ways to use it, etc. Now, it's altogether a more heavyweight construction than, for example, something like this lightweight Vandoren MO. They're made in the USA, and this particular one is rhodium plated. They are available in gold plate as well. But the reason they do rhodium plating is it won't wear like silver plate. It will not tarnish. And there are a lot of issues with, especially the Vandoren Optimums, tarnishing.
Yes, mine looks very different to that.
Yes, and silver plate generally will. And it's often the ebonite or the sulfur within the ebonite of your mouthpiece which makes the silver plate tarnish. And so they've used the rhodium plating to eliminate that issue. But let's have a little listen and then your thoughts, Liz.
Yeah, again, that's something I'd like to explore. You have to play not very differently. Each ligature responds slightly differently, and you need to get used to the way they work with your reed and mouthpiece. And I, for example, would just want to change my reed position slightly with that and give that another go. But I don't know if we have time to do that. Let's just do that and just see what happens then. Yes, that has more resistance still, actually. And so I'd used a slightly lighter setup with that, but something I would certainly want to explore.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is an interesting ligature, and because the only thing touching the reed really is the plate, which is actually mounted on a spring, and the rest of the lig is not touching the reed at all. But like I say, we've done a separate video, so do check that out if you want to know a little bit more about these new AK ligatures. So I think as we just finish up, it's important to, I suppose, make the main point that it's a personal thing to a degree, but it is important that the ligature A works and B, you feel comfortable with it, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And they can make a great difference. If you have a particularly razzy reed and you put on something which has that feeling of just damping it down a little bit, you can get rid of the raz, it can give you greater clarity of sound, all sorts of things. It can ease articulation. I mean, fundamentally, it doesn't get away from you needing to practice and have a decent technique to start with, but it can make an instant difference to you as a player, which can give you the encouragement to persevere, certainly. And for the more advanced player, when you're looking at subtle differences in sound and nuance, again, it's something to look at. And for different styles of music, for something particularly French and sparkly, doing a piece of, I don't know, Francais chamber music, it might just suit that to pop on something with a little more clarity and ping, as opposed to playing a Brahms clarinet quintet with something maybe a slightly darker sound.
And we've talked about the metal ligatures here. There are fabric and sort of hybrid things in between. So just while I've got you though, I know you've used a mix of ligs in the past, and would it a little bit vary on the setup like you've just outlined?
Absolutely, it might vary what I'm playing in orchestra, solo, chamber music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's matching it to the right.
For me, some other players would say, oh no, absolutely stick to the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
But Jack Brymer, all those years ago, he used to have different mouthpieces he used to put on for different things. So, yes, horses for courses, different things for different situations.
Good.
And they're worth exploring. And it's fun, actually.
Yeah.
Because you don't end up totally muddled.
Yes, yeah, you can not go ligature loopy, as we call
No.
it. So good. So check those 5 out. There's a nice range there, across price-wise from about £40 up to about 160 and in between. So there's a full range, and we offer an approval period. So if you want to try 3 different ligatures, we can send them to you, and you can try them at home, try them in the orchestra, try them in the band, whatever it is, and actually put them into the real world and give them a test and see what works for you, because that's important as well. And that's pretty much it from us. But do check out the other videos about the AK, and we've done a separate video about some Rovner fabric ligs too. But Liz, if you can just blow us out, that would be splendid.